Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Ultra Hardware number 44259. This is a heavy-duty lever classroom lock is what it is. This is the commercial cylindrical lock, satin chrome, handicap compliant levers. When I said heavy duty earlier, I meant to say grade 2. It is standard duty commercial is what this is considered, not grade 1. Grade 2 would be standard duty. My initial reaction was, oh, that's heavy. This lock weighs well over 4.5 pounds with its box and the keys and the screws, etc. So I was initially very impressed, as am I now, of course. This is a classroom function, and what that means is you're going to be able to leave the lock unlocked, rotate the key, extract the key, forgive me, rotate the key the other way, and then it's in a locked position. Okay, that's how that works. So 180-degree turn one way unlocks it. Forgive me. Key is inserted. 180-degree one way unlocks it. Back to center. Remove the key. It's still unlocked. 180-degree turn the other way. Back to center. Remove the key, and it's now locked. That's a classroom function where key control sets whether it's locked or unlocked. They call it a classroom function. They come from the factory keyed differently, which is very typical. Being a grade 2 cylindrical type lock, you're going to have a 2 3/4 latch bolt that will come with it. The key is an SC1 key, and here's what this means. This is a Schlage C keyway, 6 pin, and it's pinned 6. Being of a somewhat generic sort of design, you can source separately replacement cylinders that will work in this sort of construction if you needed to run a different keyway through it. That is certainly possible. This door will work on doors 1 3/8 to 1 3/4 thick, so you'll be able to accommodate most typical installations. You're going to get with this a 4 7/8 strike. Typical 4 7/8 for use in a steel frame. You're going to get a screw package, of course. 2 long screws to hold the body together. The 2 larger screws for your strike plate. 2 smaller screws for the face of the latch. You're going to get a ring for the inside of for the latch bolt itself, depending on how the door has been drilled. You might have a larger diameter hole. You might have a 1-inch hole. You might have a 7/8 hole. But you'll use that if necessary. You'll remove it if you don't. You don't want the latch bolt to have any reason to move around in there at all. Again, I was very impressed, and I am impressed with the quality of this lock. I wouldn't hesitate to use this in an instant or suggest that a client use it where quality, something that is going to be predictable in use, something that will perform, you need something that will perform well under standard conditions, not necessarily under abusive or vandal sort of conditions, a situation by which you want to keep the cost of the lock within a very reasonable sort of price range, and any of the Ultra locks certainly comply with that. Good quality, good value for the dollar, something that you can expect to get reliable service out of, provided it's not in an abusive situation. But again, it's got a really nice heavy feel to it, which I think is going to tell someone that initial reaction is like, oh, that's a good lock. We sell this to school districts where they need to have something that's not going to really break the budget, something in a retrofit sort of situation. You don't see these in new construction in a high volume sort of application like this, but you will see this sort of lock in a standard retail sort of space. You'll see these on the bathroom doors to in restrooms and retail spaces, food spaces, restaurants, places of that nature. Custodial closets would be a great example of this lock in a school where you know, the classroom doors need to have something that will take a significant amount of abuse, but the custodial door, something that's not going to get abused and will be used sporadically. This would be really good for you. Ultra Hardware is a full line importer of many things commercial building product related. There are instructions included with this. There is a template included as well. This template will show you 2 3/8 and 2 3/4. The latch bolt included is only 2 3/4 for this. You'll be able to tape your template down to the edge of the door and give you the point of the center. They're giving you, you know, door thicknesses as well. You're going to be over at the 1 13/16 area if you've got an 1 3/4 door. Okay, and then the line further back is 2 3/4. This lock is going to be considered, this lock will be requiring a modified 161 is what it's called, where you're going to drill your 2 holes at 12 and 6. Those holes are 5/16 diameter. Pardon me, they're called out at 11/32. So that's just a 32nd larger than 5/16 for that. You do want to drill it to the proper diameter. I said 5/16 because that is very common for many other lock manufacturers. Ultra wants 11/32. You don't want the lock to be constricted when you install it at all. You don't want it to be on an angle that will hamper the latch bolt's ability to be operating correctly. You want to have a proper size hole. So 11/32 is what is being called out. Reviewing the instructions that are in the box, you've got a parts list that is there. You know, you've got a figure 1 and figure 2 refer to the prepping of the door. Doing a 161 or a cylindrical lock prep is a 2 1/8 hole through the door, 2 3/4 back set. Your edge is going to need to be 2 1/8 tall. Sorry, I just said 2 1/8. It's 2 1/4 inch tall. The eighth comes in the width of the faceplate. I meant to say 1 1/8 wide, 2 1/4 tall. The 2 3/4 reference does not have any relevance to the back set at all. It's just a dimension from the edge of the door to the center of the hole. This latch bolt allows the lock to be that because it connects into the edge of the retracting hub here in the outside of the lock. Step 3 is getting it installed. You're going to need to remove the inside lever to get this installed. You're going to have included with your screw package a little pin for that. Into the small hole that's here on the inside, you can insert that pin, depress the spring-loaded tab that's in there and pull the lever off. At that point, you'll be able to take the rosette assembly off. It only goes back on one way, and I'll show you that. Then your plate, okay? There are 2 little prongs that you see here and here. Those are going to bite into the face of your wood door. That's normal. If it's a steel door, there are typically little cutouts, half-moon cutouts, on the edge of the round hole for that, typically at 3 and 9. When I said that can only go on one way, it's because there's a slot here, okay, and that mates up with the spring-loaded tab that's only on this side. So it would indeed only go back on that way. Okay, then of course your lever just goes on right the way that it came off. That can also only go on one way. And when you push it back down, you'll want to test it to make sure that it's secured where that spring-loaded tab pops back into the slotted hole on the inside of the lever. Lever comes off, rosette comes off, your plate, the 2 screws I should have said, go through here into your posts, here and here. Tighten it down, don't over tighten it, because you want to ensure smooth operation, and when you over tighten that, it will compress the parts and it won't operate as freely as it should. If it's not operating correctly, back those screws out just a little bit. Step number 5 was the disassembly of the lock, which we just went over. You're going to want to install the latch bolt first. This will go into the edge of the door first. You're going to want to make sure this is nice and flush. Your corners are squared out. Secure that down. Your lock body will lock over this portion. Being a keyed lock, you've got a deadlocking tab here, which when properly installed, meaning that it's held back when it's in the hole of the strike plate, when the latch bolt is in the hole of the strike plate, you cannot depress that. That's pick resistant, vandal resistant. Installation of the lock, we discussed the plate, the 2 screws, which is shown in figures 7 and 8. 9, putting the rose and the lever back on, and then of course installing your strike. This shows it as coming with a T-strike, but this one's included. You're going to get a 4 7/8 ASA strike with this model. And that's it. These can be rekeyed. That's a service that we can provide for you should you need. Or key-to-like, we can send them out in sets, key-to-like, as you need. Box is going to look like this. Packaging is going to look like that. If you have any questions on the Ultra Hardware 44259 lever classroom lock or any other Ultra Hardware product, please feel free to reach out to us.